And we're so glad you're with us each and every day. If you get a chance to listen every day. If not, just pop in whenever you can. It's the conversational program called Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. The name of the program, Take Two, means we like to take a different, unique, maybe a fresh, new perspective, a new look at the things that we all experience in our lives. And in the case of today's topic, not everybody may have experienced it firsthand, but it is something, Debbie, that I think with technology and ease of travel and so forth, it really is a topic that anyone could be open to in terms of when they're looking for their spouse, their life mate.
Long-distance relationships. That's what we're discussing today on Take Two. That those relationships that maybe begin, close together geographically, and then maybe it just, moves or job changes or something takes you apart, but you want to still keep the relationship. Or maybe you started a relationship long-distance wise, and how did that work out for you? We're going to be discussing all angles of it. But Jerry, I have to share something that is just so adorable. This is how, close we are as a Take Two community. We do this thing on Take Two called Short Takes. And for all our listeners, that's when we kind of highlight a call or a conversation or a part of the show that we want to just put in a short condensed form and put it up on to the EWTN TV, Facebook, and radio Facebook pages, and to let all of our listeners kind of hear just a little sample of what that particular show was. And so we choose with our producer, Rich Jesse, and social media expert, Jeff Burson, and call screener, Matt Gabinski, and you and I, Jerry, we decide the short take. Well, yesterday's short take was really phenomenal. It was from Cherie, and I believe Mississippi. Is that correct? Was it Mississippi? I believe so.
I believe so.
I believe so. Yeah, Mississippi and Cherie. But was so beautiful was that Cherie went back to the Facebook page, like we had told everybody to keep checking. Yes, it's Mississippi, and she went back to the Facebook page, and she picked it up and shared it with her Facebook friends, and she was very excited that we picked her short take. So Cherie, thank you so much for, first of all, going back and checking. Yes, we did pick your short take. We thought it was really wonderful, and thank you for sharing it. That's exactly what we wanted to do with these short takes. So I had to just share that because when I saw that yesterday, I was really pleased that she had gone back.
Yeah, that's really cool. Anyone who listens to the show, especially those who call in, you can check back every day. Your call could be that short take, but we're looking for your takes today on, have you ever had a long-distance love affair, a relationship that you thought might be, wow, maybe this is the person God is calling me to meet? I have friends right now who commute. I think in one case it's probably maybe 800 miles or so back and forth. They go visit each other. I mentioned, I think on yesterday's show, Debbie, in high school, my high school, little tiny school on the Washington coast, under 150 students. That's in the top 4 grades. We did a high school exchange trip with John Glenn High School on Long Island, New York. 2,000 students. And so we went there and spent 2 weeks, and then they came out and spent 2 weeks with us. And boy, you can imagine, when I got there, the school was 10 times the size of ours, right. Like a beehive, students everywhere. But had a great experience, and then their students came out and spent 2 weeks, living with families in our area. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls on the exchange trip, we actually hit it off, and we really liked each other. And for a few years after high school, I would go and stay with her family for a couple weeks during the summer, and she would come out and stay with my family. And back then we didn't have texting and FaceTime and all this stuff. It was pretty much letter writing, which not by her fault, but by mine, pretty much doomed the relationship because I'm not much of a letter writer.
What about phone calls?
Well, we called, but here's the thing. We always joked that we would get married and live in the Midwest, somewhere like Nebraska, right in between each other's families. But so I've been in a long-distance love affair, relationship, whatever you want to call it. And we want to hear from you, our listeners. If you are or have been, maybe you're married to somebody you met who was, quite a ways, or maybe around some other part of the world, and you made it work. Or maybe you just realize, it's just too difficult to try to put all these pieces together. 1-800-585-9396. Sorry, Debbie, I'm hogging the microphone this morning.
You're not. So I guess, fortunately or unfortunately, your relationship with that high school sweetheart didn't work out. But my relationship with Marty did work out, and ours was somewhat of a long distance relationship. He lived in the northern part of Arizona, and I lived in the valley, a couple hundred miles away. And so we cultivated a relationship via phones, texting. I can remember many times late at night, we would just talk and talk and talk for hours. I probably shouldn't even say this. I'm probably embarrassing him and myself, but all of a sudden I'd be like, Marty, he had fallen asleep on the phone. He had fallen asleep,
Really?
Jerry. And I'm like, oh my goodness, is this what it's going to be? No, I was just teasing. But it was great. We had great phone conversations and really got to know each other really well. And the times that we were together to go out to dinner and stuff, it was just fun to be together. And so, yeah, I enjoyed that. That's not like a, super long distance relationship where you have to take a plane to see one another. But, it was where we had to cultivate using technology, using the phone, we sent emails to each other. We, texted. And so, yeah, I think there's some, it's really an interesting dynamic, Jerry. It's very different from, when you grow up in a small town and you meet somebody else and, they're right there in the same town as you, and their family members, their pretty much their whole life story. It's really different, compared to having to do a long distance relationship. But phone lines are just jamming up. And that means that a lot of you have very interesting opinions on this subject. So the number to dial if you want to get in, don't hesitate. Or if you want to wait for a line to open up, jump in real quickly at 1-800-585-9396.
Well, and we know today that I mentioned technology and ease of travel. I mean, you combine those two things. You've got some very reliable Catholic dating sites. Of course, many, many other dating sites that I personally, would probably stay pretty far away from if I were looking for somebody to spend my life with. But, the Catholic sites, I know they've been started by reliable, devout Orthodox Catholic people. And so that's one way, certainly. You could probably filter your searches and all this stuff, but, as it sometimes goes, Debbie, that one that you look at and you read her profile and you look at what she's done and her education and you go, oh, this one would just be perfect. She's where? She lives where?
Australia?
So maybe some of our listeners have had experience. I'd love to hear from a couple who've gotten married after meeting on a Catholic dating site. Again,
wow,
got to be
that's a
real
whole nother show.
careful. Well,
Yeah.
It is, but it meets our criteria for the show today.
Yeah.
As I always say, I think one would have to be very, very careful about sites like that, but they all tout the fact that they've got happy marriages, Deb. So, but anyway, maybe you are courting someone right now who lives 100, 500, 1,000, 3,000, 8,000 miles away. Maybe you're married to someone. Maybe you gave it a try. You had that commuter relationship going, and you just said, you know what, this or that or whatever is just too much of an obstacle. Deb, I know we're going to get a lot of great takes on this.
We are. So think about it. Call in. Don't hesitate, but hurry up. We want to hear from you. You drive the show at 1-800-585-9396. I know we are going to get ready to take our first break, but wanted to share, Jerry, I have to just share this. Like almost every show, Jerry, we get calls from the Station of the Cross area. Almost every show. I have this crazy idea, Jerry. We should do like an on-location show in the Station of the Cross area. Wouldn't that be fun?
Well, in a lot of places. We could take this. If anybody would like to have us come out and do the show live and do some kind of an event, that would be fun. They can just get a hold of us through Take Two. What is it? Take Two at EWTN.com.
Yep, take two at EWTN.com. That's the email. Take the number 2. Yeah, that would be really fun. How exciting is that? We just came up. Well, we've been talking about it, but I actually just saw that when we have our first caller that we right after our break we're going to go to who's calling from the Station of the Cross area. Marielle, hold on. We're going to take that first break. When we come back, we're talking about long distance relationships. Do they work? Are they too much trouble? What is the good, the bad, and the ugly about it? We want to hear from you. So we're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to go right to the phones. Stay with us.
Hey, Catholic high school and college filmmakers, want to get your work seen in over 250 million homes around the world? Then enter the Cool to be Catholic commercial contest. We're looking for original 30 and 60-second spots that focus on Catholic themes. 3 grand prize winners will get an all-expense-paid trip to the EWTN studios in Birmingham, Alabama, and a guest appearance on Life on the Rock. To find out more and to enter, go to EWTN.com/cool2becatholic.
What's stopping you from becoming a Catholic?
Why can't women become priests?
I don't understand why I have to earn salvation.
How is it possible that God created everything?
Why do I need to confess my sins to a priest?
Why is the Catholic Church so unwilling to The Catholic Church is too rich.
Catholics worship Mary and are
As
committed.
far as I'm concerned, all religions are equal.
You are called to communion with Dr. David Anders. Today, 2 p.m. Eastern, on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
This is Cardinal Sean O'Malley, Archbishop of Boston, Massachusetts.
This is Marcus Grodi, host of The Journey Home.
This is Dr. David Anders, host of Called to Communion. Have a blessed Lent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
Wow, looks like a topic that is at least as common, maybe even more prevalent than we might have thought. Full phone lines right now on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about long-distance love affairs. Have you been in one? Did it work? Did you realize maybe it just wasn't meant to be? What were some of the hurdles, the challenges that you faced in maybe working hard to make it successful? These kinds of things, we'd love to hear about, and how, the role of your faith, played a part in that, in just trusting and praying, Lord, is this the right person? So when we free up a line, you can join us at 1-800-585-9396. We're going to start with Marielle in Horseheads, New York, listening to EWTN Radio on, as Debbie said, the Station of the Cross. Hi, Marielle. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure.
I just wanted to say I've been in a long-distance relationship for a little over 4 years now, and actually the long-distance part is going to be ending in July. We're getting married, so I'm very excited about that. But, you guys, in the last segment, were discussing different ways that people cultivate long-distance relationships through letters and texts and phone calls, and I think one thing that we as Christians and Catholics have that is still important, that does cultivate long-distance relationships and really any relationship, is prayer. And it's been such an important thing in our relationship because, we live about 1,000 miles away, and when big things are happening in each other's lives, like death of family members or even something like a stressful test, we can't be there physically to support each other, to, give each other a hug or hold each other's hand, but we know that the other one is praying for us. And that is just so important and brings so much strength to each other.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful, Marielle. So first of all, congratulations. And can you share your fiance's name and so that and the date of your wedding date, so we can all be holding you and your fiance up in prayer. And you can tell your fiance, see, the whole world is holding us up in prayer today. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. His name is Matt, and we're getting married July 2nd.
July 2nd. That's a day after Jerry's birthday. So Jerry will remember that. Yeah.
That's
right.
Okay.
Did you say Matt or Max with an X? Which one?
Matt with a T.
With a T, Matt, like Matthew. Okay, Matt. So Marielle and Matt, everyone, July 2nd. Start praying July 1st on Jerry's birthday. Start praying because it's the night before the wedding, and then holding them up in prayer. See, you've got a whole team around you, Marielle. How beautiful is that? So your relationship is just getting off to just a beautiful start because now you got more prayer around you.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Marielle. Thank you for sharing that beautiful take. You can just hear the joy in her voice. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move quickly to all of you here. Thanks for your patience. Jacquelina is next, listening to EWTN Radio on Sirius XM 130 in North Carolina. Jacquelina, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And what is your take on this?
Hello, and thanks for letting me share my story.
Sure.
I come from Argentina. My husband is American. We met in 1995. So it was written letters and phone calls. And I'd say, trust the Lord when you pray for your future husband and wife. And be open, because I thought I was going to marry someone from my neighborhood. And I ended up traveling 5,000 miles. But we have been married almost 20 years. We have 7 children.
Wow. That is beautiful, Jacquelina. Thank you for sharing that. And you know what your comments make me think about, and Debbie, you know, you've been in parish ministry a lot too, so you'll understand this. But I've actually known guys, you know, friends of mine, who just felt like, you know, well, if I just go to enough, like, you know, singles groups, or if I just go to the prayer group often enough, or this or that function or organization, you know, she's going to be there. I just know she's going to be there. And you know what? There is no better place to meet a spouse probably than, you know, in your parish. You know, you see her, or a lady would see him, you know, attending mass and being very devout and so forth. But this just goes to show, you know, God creates everybody for someone, and that someone may not be living just down the street from us. It's really amazing.
Right. And Jacquelina, definitely 20 years of marriage, 7 children. Wow, you are blessed. Thank you so very, very much for sharing your beautiful story of a long-distance relationship that turned out to be a really big, blessed family. I mean, how beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 4 biological children, and we just adopted 3 boys from Bulgaria.
Wow. Praise God. Wow. That is awesome. Well, you sound like a great mom, and you sound like you just totally celebrate your family. And we just are so happy that you called in today to share your story. Jerry, I just have to share real quickly in backing up what Jacquelina said. You know, I think I've shared this on previous shows. You know, Marty, my husband, was an answer to my prayers. I was very specific with God, what I wanted, and very specific. I mean, to the point that it was almost like crazy specific. And Marty literally was an answer to my prayers, and he met everyone. I mean, God was so abundantly wonderful with giving me every bit of my prayer. And in fact, he even went a couple steps further. See, God is so awesome. Not only did he say to me, okay, Deb, I'll answer every part of your prayer, but you forgot about 3 things that you probably would want. And he added those on, and Marty met those. Yeah, it's hysterical. So prayer does work, and prayer is, you know, that element in the relationship that really does connect the divine. And I think this is huge today. I think I see the transition we're making with this, and this is a very good topic today. Okay.
Well, what I want to know is, how did Marty feel, though, when you were sizing him up with your checklist on the clipboard?
Well, it was hilarious. We actually, no, it really should be a show, because someday I should share. It's hilarious. I'm telling you how specific it is. And I actually went down the list with Marty, and we just both started laughing. I mean, Marty just went, oh my goodness, I guess I am the answer to your prayers. And that was it. So he was actually kind of cool with it, but our friends think it's hysterical that he met every bit of the criteria. So there you go. Power of prayer.
We're going to hear more takes on long-distance love affairs. Next is, let me see, Linda, listening to EWTN Radio on Denver Catholic Radio in Colorado. Hi, Linda. Good day to you. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello there.
I just want to share that my husband and I went to high school in the same and dated, then broke up didn't see each other for 4 or 5 years. And then we spent the next 3 years in a long-distance relationship. He was in the military. And now we've been married 50 years.
Wow, 50 years.
5 children, 11 grandchildren.
Oh, my goodness. But, Linda, you sound like a child yourself. I mean, that's amazing. Your voice is so youthful. Wow, that is awesome.
I wish the rest of the body was the same way. But
Well, Linda, I'm curious now. You got to fill in a few of the gaps here. I know we got a lot of other callers, but you dated, I think you said in high school, went your separate ways. He obviously went in the military. So how did you get back? Did you just stay in touch all those years, just kind of as friends? And then
we had a mutual friend that got married, and we saw each other again at their wedding.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then we started, again, no texts. My husband's not a phone person, so it was all letters. And we just kept in touch, and then we started just being the only person we kept in touch with. And then when I went to further school after college, I said, okay, if this is it, I'm going to spend time where I see him every day. So we moved to the same area. We didn't live together back then, and spent the year of my schooling there and saw him enough, and he saw me enough that we felt, yes, this was someone we wanted to share our lives with.
Wow. So, Linda, I have to ask you this question. Did you guys save all the letters? Did you save them all in one location?
Well, I don't know about him, but I have all his.
You do? Okay, cool. Very cool. So that's something that you can even, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, maybe they're too personal, but I've heard of movies and stuff where that gets handed down to children and, years to come where kids can read about how their parents, started cultivating a relationship and stuff. And that's pretty cool to have that because you're right. And texting, well, I guess you can save text, but not really, not for too long. But phone calls and stuff, you can't really save those. Those are committed to memory. But when you have letters that are that tangible, evidence of the relationship developing, that's pretty beautiful. That's pretty precious, Linda.
Well, actually, we started writing a, quote, life story type thing of when we met and our life together. From
wow.
The time we first started dating and then not dating and then back to the long-distance relationship.
Beautiful.
Not that, but it started.
Beautiful,
Yeah, that's
Linda.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, Linda, thank you so much for calling. Have a very, very blessed day. And that is a good reminder, too, Debbie, that, long-distance love affairs aren't just prior to marriage. I'm right now at my sister's house in Silverdale, Washington, hosting the show, getting ready for Sacred Heart Radio Share-a-thon this week. Folks, be generous to Catholic Radio when they ask you. Got to slip that in there. My sister's husband, fantastic man, a Marine for 23, 24 years. He was out, running around the world, in the military. And my brother Joe spent over 20 years in the Navy. His wife, had months and months stretches of being apart. And so this is, military couples and in so many situations, even work can take a spouse away for a long time. So, folks, you're sharing your experiences on being in love and making it work from long distance. 1-800-585-9396.
And I just want to share, we do get a lot of calls from Station of the Cross radio listeners. And and Linda just reminded me, Denver Catholic Radio, we get a lot of calls. Iowa Catholic Radio, Mater Dei Radio. I mean, so many places, Jerry. We could take two on the road and be on the road for a long time.
Hey, seriously, Debbie and I love the connection with you. And we've talked about this the first time we've said anything on the air, and it's just kind of spontaneously coming out today. But if you wanted to help bring us out, we could do a live radio show, maybe a little, something, give some talks that night, just have some fellowship. Could be really fun. So take two at EWTN.com is how you can, send us an email if you'd be interested. But still a lot of people interested in this topic today.
We are, and we're getting ready to take that one break that we cannot move, but I think we have time. Do we have time to get to a caller before then? We just can hold the caller. Can we do that?
Well, we've got a minute till the break. Why don't we test their virtue of patience today?
Okay, so not take the call. Is that what you're saying?
You didn't laugh, Debbie.
I did laugh. I did.
Oh, we'll take the calls.
No, you know what I was. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say every line is full, and every one of you will get on the air, guaranteed. It's just that, when we have this hard break, it's in less than a minute now. You hear that music come up, so we could say, hey, welcome to the show. Tell us about it. Oops, hold on. Can you hold that thought? We don't like to do that to you. So We'll give you all the time you need. That includes Jamie and Myra and Donna and Carla. You will all be up right after the break on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, then, speaking of that, you were talking about patience, Jerry, and I want to just tell you that the Praying with Mother Angelica book, I have it, and I love it, and I just want to say that has really helped me stay centered, and I know that it's a great gift to give to others and for you to have in your own library, so please make sure you go to EWTNReligiousCatalog.com, EWTNRC.com, and pick up Praying with Mother Angelica. That'll give you the patience. Okay, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Promise.
GMA Songwriter of the Year Matt Maher, Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers, and Father Larry Richards are coming to the Chaffetz Arena, St. Louis, April 23rd.
One Faith Experience is a unique, dynamic, full-day conference and concert event that will leave you re-energized in your faith, lift your spirit, and empower you to help set the world on fire for Jesus Christ.
One Faith Experience, Chaffetz Arena, St. Louis, April 23rd.
Tickets for this life-changing event start at just $15 and are available online at onefaithexperience.com.
On Palm Sunday, the church begins a remembrance of the week that changed the world. Join EWTN and our Holy Father in Vatican City for a celebration of our Savior's triumphant entry into Jerusalem during the week of his passion and death. And then, hosannas ring out at Our Lady of the Angels Chapel in Irondale, Alabama, as the Franciscan missionaries of the Eternal Word celebrate this blessed event. Later, pilgrims will be gathering in Washington, D.C. for the solemn Mass of Palm Sunday in the glorious and majestic Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. Open your hearts to the unforgettable splendor of live Holy Week Masses from around the world as the week that changed the world begins this Palm Sunday on the Global Catholic Network, EWTN.
Divine Intimacy Radio.
What we're going to be doing in the coming weeks, in the coming months, I'm very excited to begin studying the writings of Teresa of Avila. We're going to be going through a book called 30 Days with Teresa of Avila. This isn't a book study show, so we're not going to be reading the text necessarily, and line by line going through that. That'd be a little strange for radio. But what we will be doing is reflecting on the wisdom from her letters.
Divine Intimacy Radio, Sunday, 6:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
All right, back to your phone calls. Your takes drive this show. You're the ones that all of our listeners want to hear from. All right, Debbie and I could sit and just talk for 55 minutes every day, but you're the ones who have the insights and the wisdom to impart to one another. And Debbie and I just kind of fill in some holes every now and then and weigh in with some thoughts of ours. But your takes today are about long-distance love affairs. We're talking next with Jamie in Texas, listening on EWTN Radio on iHeartRadio. Jamie, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, I'm so excited. I have never actually called in on the show before.
Well, welcome. Thank you. We're glad you did.
Well, I listen to you guys every day, and this is really the first time I've ever felt compelled to call in. My husband and I have been married for almost 7 years and together for 10, and we spent probably half and half apart and together. We met in college, so we were together for that period of time, but then afterwards he's in the Army, and he's been all over the place, in and out, and all over the world for work, and so it's been a struggle. But the thing I think we learned most from it is the ability to communicate with each other in a really meaningful way, not face to face, and that's we found has been super important to our face to face conversations.
Right. Jamie, so let me ask you, you said it's been a little bit of a struggle. So when you have a relationship because of, the military or some work that takes you away on a regular, consistent basis, is it sometimes hard, share with us and all the listeners, is it sometimes hard to reconnect? I mean, or is it like how two girlfriends, you'll finish a conversation on the phone and you may not see your girlfriend for 4 months, but you can just pick up where you left off. Is it that way? Is it just like one continuous conversation, or do you have to reconnect each time?
Well, I think we've experienced both of those feelings getting back together again. The longer the time we have apart, I think the harder it is to reconnect, and you kind of have to keep trucking in real life. You can't just make it all one big date when the person is home. Right. You have to do real life things too. You have to go into work and go grocery shopping and take care of the dog and your children and all that other stuff. So we've had both the struggle and ease. I think when he's gone for maybe a month, it's much easier, I've experienced anyway, it's been much easier for us to reconnect when he comes home after a shorter period of time than when he's gone for, say, a year. Then it's sort of like who is this person in my house interrupting my schedule?
Yeah, exactly. Well, please thank your husband for his military service. I mean, we love the military. And is he home now, or is he been deployed somewhere?
Well, he's a reservist, so he's currently home now, and he also works. His job takes him all over, but he just we'll be starting a new position, or he will be anyway. It feels like we with his travel, but he'll be starting a new position where he'll be home much more often, and travel won't take him away longer than 5 days at a time or so.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
we're about to enter a much different phase of life.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, and Jamie, we so appreciate you feeling comfortable to call in, and we hope it was an enjoyable experience, because we sure value your take on this, and it does help us. I mean, that gives us a lot of food for thought to think about this. I mean, there's certain dynamics that play into, I've heard this before too, like Jamie said, Jerry, that, sometimes when you have somebody in your life on a consistent basis, you work around them, you work with them. And then when you don't have them for a while and they come back in your life, it disrupts the routine. And so
you've adjusted to something different.
For that person's absence when they're gone, and then you have to learn how to give back that responsibility to that person, so they're not just wandering around the house twiddling their thumbs doing nothing because you're just sort of a whirlwind going through and taking care of it all by yourself.
Right. That's a good point. I never really even looked at it that way. That's really interesting. Yeah, because you can't have the person come back in the house and just say, okay, honey, just sit there. Don't do anything. Don't move. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. I mean, you can't do that. That's a good point. You have to have them, reestablish their worth in the household too. So yeah, Jamie, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Sounds like it's working pretty well for you and your husband, Jamie, and that's fantastic. And thank you for being a regular listener, and for taking the time to be a first-time caller today to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We are very, very grateful for that. And we will let you go to your busy day as we get some more of these callers on at 1-800-585-9396. Share your take if you are or have been in a long-distance love affair. Did it end in marriage? Did you just realize, hey, you know what? It's just too far between us. I've got my roots are here and your roots are there, and I don't know that we could really make it work. Or what was your experience of that? 800-585-9396.
I hope Jamie calls again.
Yeah, I hope everybody calls again.
Yeah, I hope she's a regular caller. That's cool. I love our first time callers, Jerry. I just love that. I think it's really cool to make that first, leap and call in. And so we're going to go right to Myra in San Antonio, Texas, listening on EWTN radio on the EWTN app. Hi, Myra. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello. What a lovely topic you guys have today. And I'm so thrilled to be part. This is my third call calling EWTN, and I'm always get a little nervous, but I am so happy to be able to share my experience for the way I'm going to start this way. In 2005, September 2005, I got contact from CatholicSingles.com. It's a website for, Catholic singles in this matter, by a guy. It took me a while to respond to him, but then after we got in touch, we never stopped calling each other. And the crazy part is we got engaged in November the same year, because it was so much chemistry between each other. He traveled 4.5 hours to see me every 2 weeks during the weekend time. And I always put our relationship in God's hands. I said, if this is going to mean for us to get married and, have a lot of success in ourselves, He's going to make it happen. And here I am. We are 10 years. We celebrate our 10th anniversary. We have actually not 10th anniversary, 10th anniversary of first time, dating.
Right.
But we celebrate our 8th year of marriage.
Wow.
And we have two beautiful children that are listening to me on the radio right now, Maritza and Stefano.
Beautiful.
And I know it sounds crazy for people to be dating on websites, on the internet these days, but put in God's hands, and of course look for a pure, more place to share the same interests, especially when it comes to your faith. Because the first thing that I thought about trying Catholic singles is because no matter how different we're going to be, no matter how different our lifestyles will be, he is going to be Catholic and I'm going to be Catholic, and that matters a lot for us. That's one of the things that I always look when it comes to dating for me, their faith, their Christian faith, their values. And so here we are. We've been tested through sickness already, and it shows us that God keeps blessing us more and more and more. So, like I said, always, I encourage the couples, don't give up, long-distance relationships. We did it. And always put things in God's hands, because we try. No matter how things can fall apart, we're still together, and we always put God in the center of our lives. Even if sometimes it's hard, to feel that way, but we always work hard to put God in the centers of our life. So,
well, Myra, that's the grace of the sacrament. It's exactly what you're describing right there. You mentioned you've been tested by sickness and probably many other things, and raising kids is not easy, and even those that period of time, when you first met, and then leading up to your marriage and all that. A lot of questions have to be answered and so forth. And Debbie, it sounds like this is the key. We talked about this. I wouldn't discourage people from getting on dating sites. In fact, I have a good friend who started a Catholic dating site that's doing very well. But geez, you just have to you have to demand, I guess, some of the things that Myra's talking about. That shared, strong Catholic faith, virtues. Right. Obviously, it's important to meet the other person's family, to spend time with them, just to see how they act and to comport themselves and so forth. But it sounds like Myra really was blessed by God. God found her a really good spouse.
Absolutely. And Myra, you kept, God at the center, and you had faith and trust, and God brought you that perfect person. And 2 children later, you have this beautiful family that you have. But Myra, you were so proud to announce your children's names. We never heard your husband's name.
Oh, sure. Sorry. He's at work right now. I wish he could hear me, but it's unable to turn the radio on at work. His name is Steve.
Steve. Okay. Well, you can let Steve know. He could just go to take2show.com later on today, and it'll be the show will be posted there, and your children and all of you can sit around and listen to the rebroadcast, and then Steve can hear his beautiful life story on Global Radio. How exciting is that?
That is very exciting. Thank you so much for these wonderful programs. I tell you, my life have changed a lot because of you in Women of Grace and all the shows that I listen through the day. Is being such inspiring, teaching for me.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I really, really appreciate. I'm very blessed to have you part of my life now,
Oh, bless you. Well, we're blessed to have you. So remember that as well. And thank you so much for the support of EWTN. And please continue to pray for us as we pray for you and all the listeners. So thank you, Myra. God bless you and your beautiful family.
Yeah, blessings indeed.
Thank you. And I want to say hello again to my children, because I know their first time, they're like, what is going on? They're listening to Mommy on the radio on the other side of the house. So Maritza and Stefano, I love you. Mommy, Daddy and Mommy love you so much, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you. Beautiful, Myra. And make sure it's not the last time they listen either, because I think they can learn a lot by listening to Catholic radio. Hey, we've got a line open there. There's time for you to get on the program if you'd like to share your take on making a long-distance love affair work out. Maybe you're in the middle of one right now. Debbie, I know, I went to Franciscan University of Steubenville, as people know, and like a lot of colleges such as Franciscan, it draws from, I think we had students from all 50 states, dozens of countries at the time, and the odds of that special person that you meet being somebody from halfway across the country or around the world were pretty high. So I personally know a lot of friends from college who ended up being married to people that were not, let's just say, not from their hometown.
Right. That's true, because it's a melting pot of the whole. I mean, so many people go to Steubenville. You're right. So really, that's really interesting, and that brings us to another topic, Jerry, or transition. College. When you're in college, you are going to meet people outside of your town, and especially if you go, out of state. So that's really interesting. I think we need to. That should be another show. We should talk about college sweethearts. Wouldn't that be good?
Sure.
I'd like that. Okay, are we ready for Carla? Carla.
Sure.
Listening to EWTN Radio in Pennsylvania on Holy Spirit Radio. Hi, Carla. You waited so patiently. Thank you so much. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello, Jerry and Debbie.
Hi.
Hello there.
Yeah, so I'm actually nervous.
Why? Wait. I want to know. Tell us why you're nervous. Why are you nervous? Is the first time call?
Yes, but I'm more excited as well to share a little of my long distance story.
Okay, well after you're done, you got to tell us if it was an enjoyable experience. I'm just curious. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I was from the Philippines while I had my long distance relationship. So that was roughly around December of 2012 until last year, April 2015. Mm-hmm. So I guess 2.5 years in the long distance. So anyways, my husband right now, he's at work. He was actually the one listening online in his car, and then he texted me like, hey, the topic is about long distance, and it's in this Holy Spirit radio. And so I turn on, I have my application. So anyway, my husband traveled 4 times to my country, and he visited me. He had to fly like 9,000 miles for the whole trip. So so last year I just got here in the USA. So we got married June, and so with those 4 visits, he got to know me and my family as well. And I think I really believe that we made a big difference in each of our lives. So, even though we were apart, we were able to grow our faith more. I was also surprised that he converted to being a Catholic. So that was also the biggest part of our relationship. So even though I was in the Philippines and he was here in the USA, I think, and we think that we made a difference in each of our lives. So it was more on our faith and the distance that really, worked, I guess, on the relationship. So here we are.
Married
for
a year. So you're married for less than a year, correct?
Right.
Okay, so you're still a newlywed.
Right.
How cool is that? Okay, so you have to share your husband's first name, and you got to ask him possibly to call back for tomorrow's show, because we're talking about coming into the church, becoming a Catholic. But what's your husband's first name so we can congratulate the newlyweds?
His name is Jim.
Jim.
Yes, he's at work right now. He's in the middle of running. I don't know if he can listen to us. Yeah.
Well, you could listen to the rebroadcast on take2show.com if you'd like to, and then you and Jim can listen to it. But Carla, I mean, that is awesome. So you found, and you and Jim came together, and then for Jim to come into the church and to celebrate your religion together, for you to be Catholic together. I mean, look how the strength of that, look how the beauty of that is only going to make your marriage, that more solid, and you have that common ground, and that's beautiful. I mean, what a gift to be. I mean, here you get a husband, and then you get him to, his ability, him wanting to convert to Catholicism. That's pretty huge.
Exactly. Well, before we started talking, so that was December of 2012, he was already joining, the RCIA. Yeah. So it was just the process of confirmation. So I was really happy that, he was able to do that whole thing. And I never thought that I would be meeting someone like him. And I guess he really is a blessing to my life. And we are a blessing to each other's lives.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
See, so wasn't this an enjoyable call? See how nice it is? It's just like you're in our living room, Carla.
Right.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. To our newlyweds, Carla and Jim. How exciting is that, Jerry? Don't you love that? I love newly married people that come together. The excitement is it's contagious.
Yeah. Thank you, Carla, for sharing that with us and our listeners today. We appreciate that so much. We heard on EWTN Facebook page, too, from Irma. She says, yes, we had a long-distance love affair, and we've been married for almost 20 years. Glory to God. Well, Irma, thank you so much for sharing that. Dear listeners, you can share anytime, anything you want on EWTN Catholic Radio
anything.
Facebook page. Not any, well, certain
Just
things may not
make it on.
Make it on there, but any takes for our show, certainly. All right, Donna is next, listening on EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross in Auburn, New York. Hi, Donna. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing well.
I just wanted to say I didn't have a long-distance relationship. My husband and I met 30 years ago, but I was saying the prayer to St. Teresa that I would meet a good man that I could marry, a good Catholic man that I could marry. And I did a 9-day novena and then a 9 days and Thanksgiving. And on the 18th day of that novena, my aunt, I was at her house, and she was cleaning something up, and she found a rose for life, and she handed it to me, and she said, here, you can have this if you want it. And I put it on my name pin at work. And then the very next day, I met my husband.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So you got a sign, you got a tangible sign, and then your husband came into your midst. Wow.
Yes. So it's always been, so I do firmly believe that you should be praying that you meet the right person, not only that you meet someone, but you meet the right person. And I have just started, we have 7 children, and I've just started the St. Teresa Novena recently for, my oldest son, who's 28, hasn't been going to church and stuff, so I started the novena that he would come back to the church and that he would meet a good Catholic girl that would increase his love of the church, and also that my daughter, who's 26, that she would find a good Catholic man for herself, too.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
I have... my youngest is 13, and our oldest he'll be 29 in July. But, so the prayers do work, and you do find the person that God truly meant you to have.
Yeah, and you have a beautiful, big family. How wonderful is that?
Well, my parents have 48 grandchildren. There were 8 of us, and they have 48 grandchildren, so...
Oh, bless
that
your
is just
parents.
Outstanding.
Yes, my father's not a Catholic, but my mom is, and but my father's always been so protective of our faith. Like when we were growing up, he made sure if we went on a trip, the first thing he did was asked at the hotel, where's there a Catholic church? He always made sure there was a church for us and stuff. So he, even as a non-Catholic, set a good example for us.
That's beautiful.
And people like that, God looks so... those are special people. For whatever reason, maybe they don't take that step and become a Catholic, but I mean, just the fact that, the protector, the one who is safeguarded the faith of his wife and kids, God's got to look favorably on that. There's no question about that. Sounds like a very, very virtuous man. So we thank you so much for calling in, Donna, to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We hope that you will continue to be blessed, and we will pray for your any of your kids or anyone you know, and all people who are perhaps not fervently practicing their faith at this time, you can't go wrong with St. Therese, the little flower. She is definitely very powerful in her intercession.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, thank you so much, Donna. Wow. Beautiful families we're hearing from today. This is awesome. So we are moving right along. We want to get to Sandy in Colorado, listening to EWTN Radio on Denver Catholic Radio. Sandy, take it away.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to call in because I was in a long-distance relationship. I dated someone for 2 years at the University of Steubenville, and I was sure I was going to marry him. I had met his family when they visited the school, but then on spring break I went to go stay with his family through the whole spring break. And while I was there, I learned things about his family and how they operated and what would have been expected of me had I married him. And I realized I cannot marry this man.
Mm. You ran for the hills, huh?
Yes. And so I felt like that's what I tell everybody. If you're dating long distance, you need to go meet the family because you need to find out how he's going to act when you actually marry him and what he's going to expect from you. And what I found out was his mother served him hand and foot and even cleaned out the sink after he shaved, and he was going to expect me to do all that. And I realized this is not the man I wanted.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's
true.
true.
And Sandy, we were talking about that earlier. You know, I said I didn't want to, come down on, say, dating sites. It's not what you're talking about here, but it is one way of meeting somebody, from a distance. But, I made the point that you're making now. I'm glad you're, reinforcing it from your own personal experience. But, Debbie, I just don't see. I've heard that it's been done before. I actually knew when I early in my radio career, this gal that used to call me at the radio station all the time. She met her husband on the CB radio. He was a truck driver. And they used to just talk on the CB, and they got, I guess, close enough, if you can put it that way, to he proposed marriage, and they got married, I think, before they had ever seen each other. That's an extreme situation, obviously, but yeah, Sandy is so right, Debbie. I mean, you got to get to know. I mean, a person is really the sum of his family and his origin and his conditioning and his environment. So if one person doesn't take the time to get to know all of that, it could be difficult.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad Sandy called in and took the time to call in to share with all of our listeners that, because that is really great advice. I mean, and Sandy took the time to meet the family. She made a good assessment and thought, wow, this is not going to be my future. And I think that is awesome. That is great. So many times we kind of glaze over some of the bad things we see because we want the relationship to work so badly. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I can overlook that, or I can change that down the road. And that's not a good thing. So I think, Sandy, that was wise information. Sorry you had to go through that experience, but it sounds like it was the right thing for you to do. So this was a good show today, Jerry.
It was, and Jackie and the others, we always feel bad that we have to end the show without getting people on the line. But call again tomorrow. We're going to be talking about I'm going to be Catholic. So listen, are you an RCIA? Are you returning to the faith? Are you a convert? And this Easter, you've got your sights set on entering into full communion with the Catholic Church. Join us and share your take on I'm going to be a Catholic. That's tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
And don't forget to check back on our short takes. We're going to pick a short take from today's show. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you tomorrow.